Welcome to our OUCARES beginner yoga class. I hope that you enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed making it, and you can follow along. I've created some visuals to help you, remember and practice these poses, and you can always pause this video and refer to the drawings and continue to follow along with them. So starting out, we're going to open our class with the Namaste song, and those of you who are familiar with the class know that this is something we always look forward to. So let's come to a comfortable seated position. I'd also like to remind you that any of these poses can be done sitting in a chair. You can sit in a chair, you can sit on the floor, and even the standing poses you can also do from sitting on the floor or sitting in a chair. Let's just start out with our Namaste song. Namaste is what you say to the good in you and the good in me. Say namaste every day and the world will live in harmony. Now I would like to invite you to check in with your breathing. Feel yourself breathing, and if it helps, you can place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Take a nice breath in and a nice breath out. What are you thankful for? You might feel that in your heart. And what feels good inside of you today? And you might feel that in your belly. So just connecting with what makes you happy and what makes you feel good and positive today. And feel your body breathing. So throughout our practice, I'd just like you to focus on feeling yourself breathe in all the movements that we do. Breathing is the most important thing you can do, and it will help you to stay healthy, and it will help you to be happy. Just focusing on that breath. So let's move along into our breathing exercises. Let's change the position we're sitting in, stretching our legs out in front of us. And again, you can still do this from sitting in a chair at any time you'd like to do that instead. So your legs can be out straight or just relaxed with your feet on the floor if you're sitting in a chair. Let's bring our attention to feeling our body, feeling ourselves breathing. And we'll move to our head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And remember, you don't have to reach or actually touch your toes, but you can just reach for your toes. You might remember this song from before. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose, head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. So you're already feeling a little more warmed up, and we want to be breathing all the way from our head down to our toes. Next, we'll move into a nice warm-up we call folded leaf. Remember that you can bend your knees as much as you need to do these poses. You can also put a blanket under your knees if you need that extra support. And again, you can do this in a chair. So we're going to breathe in, and I have the words for you to follow along with if you need them. Breathe in and reach up high. And breathe out and touch your thighs. Breathe in and reach for the trees. Breathe out and touch your knees. Breathe in and reach your nose. Or higher. Breathe out and reach for your toes. Good, and remember, it's just important that you don't feel any pain or discomfort. You can go ahead and just reach towards your toes. You don't have to actually touch them. So let's do that one more time. Breathe in and reach up high. Breathe out and touch your thighs. Breathe in and reach for the trees. Breathe out and reach your knees. Breathe in and touch your nose. or above it, and breathe out and reach for your toes. Good. So now that we're starting to breathe, we can move on to the rest of our breathing exercises. So moving now into our breathing exercises, we already might be feeling our breath after the warm-ups that we've done. Remember, you can sit cross-legged if that's comfortable for you. You can also sit in a chair or take your legs out straight if that's better. And it's always fine to sit on a blanket, which is what I'm going to do to help me sit up a little straighter. The first breath we're going to learn is called balloon breathing, and this is a really great practice. It really helps you to feel your breath moving in your body. And pretty much everybody knows what a balloon is. So a balloon, imagine it filling with air, and when you're blowing into it, it gets bigger and bigger. And what happens if you let go of that opening in the balloon? It just flies away, but it's flat and empty again. So our body is a lot like that. You get to be the balloon. So this whole chest and belly area is going to expand like a balloon, get bigger. And then when we breathe out, it's going to get smaller again until it's empty. So I want you to imagine the balloon. So we're filling the balloon up and we're emptying and letting the air out of the balloon. So closing your lips, and you can put your hands on your belly so that you can feel your balloon filling up. Maybe you can think of what color balloon you'd like to be. Blue, like the color behind me, yellow, red, purple, pink, green, whatever you can think of. Think of the color and imagine filling up with that color too. So we're going to breathe in, close your lips, inhale, and then breathe out. And you can breathe out through your nose or mouth. Exhale, let that balloon get smaller. Good, breathing in. And that nice inhale fills that balloon up, and breathe out. Empty that balloon all the way out. Let's do that. We're going to do it all together 4 to 5 times. So breathing in, filling the balloon, and breathing out. Emptying that balloon one more time, breathing in and breathing out. Good, and then just resting your hands, go ahead and breathe normally. Just relaxing that breath, and notice you might be breathing a little bit deeper. So that was balloon breathing. You can practice that anytime, and you want to practice it for 4 to 5 breaths. The next breath we're going to do is called bee breath. And I would like you to maybe close your eyes if that helps you to picture a bee. And I've included a picture that you can follow along with if you have our notes from the class. And I want you to imagine a fuzzy bee just flying around, buzzing happily around a flower, around a beautiful flower. And in this breath, you get to be the bee. This is a really good breath for relieving tension. It's got a lot of benefits. It even helps to relieve insomnia if you have trouble sleeping. It's a really nice calming breath. So what we're going to do is close our eyes, picture the bee in your mind. Feel that soft fuzzy bee landing on the flowers, buzzing around the flowers. And listen to the sound of that bee in your breath. Sit up straight. Now make sure I do that. And take a deep breath. Now as we breathe out, we're going to make that bee sound. All the way till you're empty. And if you feel your belly, you're going to feel it feels pretty darn empty. So we're going to do all together 4 to 5 of those. So let's do 4 more. Breathing in. And making that bee sound. Lips are closed. Good. And then you have to breathe again. So go ahead and breathe in between. Let's do 3 more of those. Breathing in. And breathing out. relax that breath, breathing in again. And you'll start to notice I'm smiling when I'm doing this. It sort of tickles your lips. I don't know if you've noticed that, but you can't help but smile when you do B breath. So we're gonna do 2 more of those, and you can change how high or low of a B sound you make. Maybe it's a big B, maybe it's a baby B. You can be any kind of B you want, and play around with the sound and see which one helps you feel the most relaxed. So let's go ahead and do it again. Are you empty? Make sure you've emptied that breath out. We have one last one to do. One more time, breathing in. And making that B sound out. Good, and then just relaxing again. And you can kind of circle your shoulders if you felt any tension, hopefully not, but anytime you feel tension in your shoulders, feel free to shrug your shoulders a little bit, adjust how you're sitting, maybe cross your ankles a different way if your ankles are crossed. The next breath practice we're going to do, it's called 3-part breathing. This is one of my favorites because it really does help to strengthen your breathing, and it does help to expand your breath capacity, how much space you have to breathe into. And we're going to breathe into all the parts of the body, or all the parts of our breathing system. So if you look at the drawing that I've included, I've got pictures showing that we're breathing into our belly, we're breathing into our ribs, which is like halfway up, and we're breathing into our chest or our heart, if you want to think of either one of those. So there's 1, 2, 3 places. We're going to start by breathing into the lowest part of our breathing area here. Then we're going to breathe into the ribs, then we're going to breathe into the chest. And at the very end, we're going to put it all together. And it helps to have a relaxed body. That's why we did the warm-ups first. So we're going to move into 3-part breath. You can place your hands gently on your belly, and we'll just focus only on breathing into the belly. We know breath will go other places, but our focus, our paying attention right here. So let's go ahead, and we're going to breathe in through our nose. Breathe in, filling the belly. And breathe out, empty the belly. Good, now we're going to move to the ribs. Breathe in, filling the ribs. And breathe out, emptying the ribs. You can actually feel them move if you place your hands there. And we'll place the hands on the chest or the heart area. Breathe in, fill the heart. And breathe out, empty the heart. Good. Moving back to the belly. And again, you can do this 3 to 5 times. Breathing into the belly. And breathing out from the belly. Breathing into the ribs. And breathing out from the ribs. Good. Breathing into the chest. And breathing out from the chest. Just keep your breathing relaxed. Let's do one more like this. Breathing into the belly. Feel it expand, feel it get bigger like that balloon again. And breathing out. Emptying the belly out. Breathing into the ribs. And breathing out from the ribs. And last but not least, breathing into the heart. And breathing out. Good. And now let's see if we can breathe just a little bit. So breathe a little bit into the belly, a little bit more into the ribs, and a little bit more into the chest area. So it'll be a 3-part breath. Little bit more, and filling all the way up, and then empty out a little bit, empty out a little bit more, and empty completely out. So we're going to give that a try. We'll do that a couple of times. All right, so breathe in, and a little more into the ribs, and all the way into the chest. Breathe out from the chest, then the ribs, and then all the way out from the belly till we're empty. Let's do that once more. Breathe in, to the belly, a little bit more into the ribs, and then into the chest. All the way out from the chest, out from the ribs, and out from the belly. And then just breathe normally. And then notice your breath might feel more relaxed now. It might be a little bit deeper. You should never feel lightheaded when you practice this. If anytime you do, you want to just stop, take a break, and just breathe normally, because it should feel good. All right, the last one we're gonna do is called the sun breath. And I'm gonna take my legs out straight for this one, but you can leave them bent if you want. And or sun breath we would call this, and we're gonna breathe out through the mouth. So it's a way to get rid of excess heat or excess tension that you might have in your mind or your body. So we're gonna go ahead and breathe always in through our nose, but we're gonna breathe out through our mouth and make kind of like a sound. So let's go ahead and we're gonna use our arms to add a little more enthusiasm to this breath. So breathe in. The sun is hot. And let's try that again, breathing in. The sun is hot. And let's do it once more, breathing in. The sun is hot. And you feel how all that heat and stress, everything just comes out. So those are some breathing practices you can do. We're going to next move on to our yoga pose sequence from our breathing practice. Now that we've practiced our breathing and our body's warmed up and ready to go, we're going to do a short yoga sequence that I think you'll enjoy. And I like how the poses in yoga are named after animals. To me, that makes yoga even more fun than it already is. So our first pose that we're going to move into is called cat and cow. And if you've come to my classes before, you probably will remember this one. I also want to point out that you can do cat and cow sitting if you'd rather do it sitting. Actually, I'll show you that first. So sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor, you would round your spine for cat and roll your shoulders back and lift your heart for cow, cat, and cow. So the great thing is, if you don't feel like getting on the floor, you can always do it sitting in a chair. So if we're coming on hands and knees, you're coming into a pose called table. Hands and knees. And just remember that you can also do the same poses by putting your forearms on the floor, your elbows and your hands on the floor, if your wrists hurt by doing it this way. And again, the chair would be another great option. So we're starting in table. Your knees are right under your hips and your hands are just a little bit forward of the shoulders, kind of like how a dog or a cat will stretch out a little bit. So let's go ahead, and as we inhale, we're going to lengthen from the crown of our head to our tailbone. So remember, head and our shoulders are away from our ears and our tailbone stretching back, as are our toes stretching behind us. Exhale, breathe out. We're going to draw the tailbone down and round our back like a Halloween cat. You can even make a cat sound if that's fun for you. And then inhale, arching your back in the opposite direction, so your tailbone lifts, your head lifts, and your belly comes down a little bit. Cow. Exhale, so a nice long slow breath out into cat. And inhale, and elbows are soft all the time, into cow. So you want to do this 4 or 5 times. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. Let's do one more. Exhale, rounding into cat, and inhale, moving into cow. Then we're going to move back to our table pose. And our next pose is called down dog and puppy. And down dog's a lot of fun. If you ever watch dogs, they always stretch when they get up from a nap, and that's what we're going to do. So our toes are going to curl under, and our knees will lift off the mat. And we're going to come into our downward facing dog. And you feel free to move your dog tail. You can bend one knee and then the other. Just make the pose fun for you. And so your tail's lifting up and your head is dropping down. And then from down dog, we're gonna move into puppy pose. So puppy pose is taking our arms in front of us. Your elbows can come down if you need to. And your head's gonna come down. There's our puppy. And feel free also to wag your tail. Good. Inhale, come back up to table. Exhale, we'll move to dog. Good, inhale, and we'll move into puppy. So we'll also do this 4 to 5 times. Exhale into dog, lift your tailbone up. Stretch your toes forward and your heels back. And inhale, come into your puppy. And exhale, move into your dog one more time. And inhale, move into your puppy. And again, feel free to change it how you need. You can also do the same poses with a chair in front of you, putting your hands on the chair and instead of being on the floor. Our next pose is another animal that is kind of fun to imitate, and that is a snake. So we're going to come down onto the mat on our belly, and we're going to be a cobra and a baby cobra. So for cobra, your toes are on the floor. I think my feet might be cut off a little bit here, and I apologize for that, but my toes are just resting on the floor. And I'm going to bring my hands under my shoulders. And you don't have to lift super high to make this pose effective. And when you breathe in, you're going to breathe in through your nose, and when you breathe out, you can hiss like a snake if you'd like. So we're going to breathe in, lift the heart into cobra, breathe out. Good, and we'll do it again, breathing in, cobra, and breathing out. And again, breathing in and breathing out. Good, and last time, breathing in and breathing out. Now, baby cobra, we'll put our arms on the floor, our elbows on the floor. And for this one, this is another nice option if you have issues with your wrists, if your wrists ever hurt. Usually this is easier for someone who has pain in their wrists or their hands. This is a little bit gentler on your hands. So just like instead of a big cobra, we're a baby cobra, same thing. We can lower down and then breathe in, lifting your heart up, breathing out. So we'll do 3 more, breathing in and breathing out. And last time, breathe in and breathe out. Kind of sounds like we're letting air out of a balloon. So again, 4 to 5 times for each of those. Now the next one's my favorite one, and if you've been to my class, some of you I know have, sometimes we have a competition to see who can hold this pose the longest. So I invite you to give that a try, challenge yourself, have fun with it. This is superhero pose. So superhero pose, if you need support when you're lifting your arms and your legs, you can always put your hands down on the floor to help you, but if you're having contests with someone, that would be cheating. So we want to make sure that we always do our best and don't cheat. So you're really going to end up having only your belly on the floor and then lifting everything else. So I'm going to kind of turn it an angle so you can see me a little bit better. So stretch your arms out in front, you're laying on your belly. You can do a similar pose to this, standing up and just stretching your arms overhead. It'll have a lot of the same benefits, but doing it on your belly is going to strengthen your core, and your spine and your back muscles are going to get stronger, so that's a good thing. So you want to feel like you can bring your belly button towards your spine. So you're lifting your belly button up. So when we inhale, we're going to lift our arms and our legs at the same time. And you can hold this, you can say, oh, I'm going to hold it for a count of 10, which is what we're going to do today. Just see if you can do it, take a break if you need it, and you don't want to hold your breath. So we're going to breathe in. That's 1 breath. And 2 breaths. 3 breaths. And 4 breaths. Try smiling while you're doing it. 5 breaths. 6. Good. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Then you can lower down, take a break. We'll come all the way up. So if you've noticed, we've done a lot of movements that are forward folding, back bending, and moving in different directions, and we're trying to make a really complete practice. This next pose is called butterfly pose. I really like this pose. We're just gonna bring the bottoms of our feet together, and so that your feet are touching, and your knees might not touch the floor. You can always put pillows under your knees if you need to for support. We're just gonna hold on to our feet, and you can decide whether your feet come all the way in or whether you leave them out a little bit, whatever's comfortable for you. So we're gonna go ahead and imagine a butterfly, so you can even have little antennas here. Imagine a butterfly flying around and landing on the flowers, just a beautiful butterfly. So we're gonna add our breath to this, so as you breathe in, sit up nice and tall, you're gonna lift your knees up. As you breathe out, let your knees lower back down. Don't ever push them down to the floor, just let them relax. Good, breathing in, lifting your knees up. Imagine your wings are helping you fly around. Breathe out and let your knees lower down. Good, breathing in and breathing out. So we'll do 2 more of these, and you're just always letting your knees relax. Breathe in and breathe out. And your knees might get closer to the floor just because you're letting them relax. And last time, breathing in and breathing out. And then now your butterfly can land on the flower. Bring your hands to your heart. And we'll move into our standing sequence. Now we'll move into our standing poses. You can do these same movements with your arms, sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor if you don't wish to stand, which is sometimes a nice option just if you want to take a little bit of a break. So we're going to bring our hands to our heart, feet are right under your hips, and we're going to add the breath to each of our movements here. This is our breathing tree flow. All right, breathing in, tree hands, and breathing out. Breathe in, tree hands, inhale, and tree hands, exhale. Half moon, inhale, and exhale to the right. Willow tree, inhale, and half moon, exhale to the left. Good, willow tree, inhale to the center. Take your feet apart, inhale, and exhale, ragdoll, fold forward. So like a ragdoll, just feel any tension rolling off of you. Inhale, and exhale, tree hands back to the center. Inhale, willow tree hands, reaching up, and exhale, willow tree hands reaching back into a slight back bend. So if I turn sideways, you can see I'm reaching back. And inhale, and willow tree hands back to your heart. Exhale. We're going to move into our finishing poses now. So there's just a couple more transitions from standing into coming down into seated and on our back. So taking your feet wide, we're coming into star pose, stretching your arms out like a star. So here we are, a 5-point star, and you can twinkle and shine, moving your fingers and your toes. Shine like a beautiful star, and you are the star of this yoga class. So enjoy shining, let your heart shine, let your smile shine. And we'll hold this for 4 to 5 breaths. You can also do this seated in a chair. Inhale, exhale. And let's do 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. And last one, inhale and exhale. Now let's fold forward into our wide angle forward fold. This is called giraffe pose. So if you think of a giraffe, they have a really long neck. Let your neck get nice and long, and you're standing up tall and letting your neck get long. And maybe your giraffe is eating some branches or leaves or grass on the ground, whatever feels good to you. You can bend your knees as much as you need to for this one. Good, and we'll stay here for about 4 to 5 breaths all together. So by now, maybe just 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. Good, and from here, we'll come all the way down onto the floor. Whatever's easiest for you. And we'll come onto our back. Coming onto our back, we're gonna hug our knees in. And you can go ahead and circle. This is like a rocking chair, so you can rock back and forth on your spine like a rocking chair. You can circle your knees, circle your hips in one direction, and then the other. So we're letting go of any tension we might have in our body, in our shoulders, anywhere. Good. Now let's go ahead and we're gonna move into a reclining twist. So it's just like our rocking chair, only our rocking chair is going to go to the side. So let your arms go out to a T, let your knees go towards your right elbow. You can look towards your left arm. And we're going to inhale back to the center and let your knees go to your left arm and look to your right. Shoulders stay on the floor for this one, and then come back to the center. And you can do this up to 4 to 5 times. We're just going to do it 1 more time to each side. So back to our left arm. And here's our last time back to our right. And back to our left. It should feel really, really good. Good, and then coming back to our center. Our last finishing pose before our rest pose is going to be bridge. So think of a bridge. You want to lift high enough that cars could drive under you. So we want to lift our hips up off the mat. So bringing your hands alongside of you, we're going to breathe in and lift the hips up. And breathe out, we can lower back down. So all together we'll do 4 or 5 of these. Breathing in, coming up. Breathing out, lowering down. Good, let's do 3 more. Breathing in. Lifting up, breathing out, lowering down, and last one, breathing in and breathing out. Good, and if you'd like, you can always hug your knees in again, into rocking chair. And then we'll move into our last pose, our resting pose. So I really like using the wall. The wall is a great option. A chair for your legs or sofa is nice. So if you want to use the wall, you just take your legs up the wall like so. And just should feel comfortable. You can even put a blanket under your hips. And this is a really nice way to rest and to relieve stress and tension. Another nice option is just to leave your feet on the floor, let your feet come out to the side, let your knees fall together. You can always use a little blanket or pillow under your head if you need it. And you can always cover your eyes to help you relax more. So I'm gonna have you pick what you wanna do. Also, you can take your legs out totally straight on the floor, just resting like you would laying in bed. And what you might want to do is to put something behind your knees. If your legs are going to be straight, I really recommend putting a pillow or blanket under your knees like I just did and lying on your back. Sometimes in class, people like to lay on their side, just like this, and you're allowed to do that too. Whatever feels relaxing to you at this moment. So you're going to take the pose and I'm going to sit because it's easier for me to talk that way. So I would just like you to imagine as you rest, feel your mat, if you're on a mat, or your blanket beneath you. and allow yourself to rest. Feel your head, your shoulders, your knees and your toes, your elbows and your wrists, and they're all getting nice and heavy, relaxing onto your mat. And if your legs are up the wall, they can still relax. Feel them getting heavier. Feel them relaxing into the floor, into the blanket, into the mat. And we're going to imagine that a puffy white cloud happens to float by, and we're going to climb onto that puffy white cloud. And while we're feeling nice and relaxed, it'll really be easy to sink into that puffy white cloud and let it support us. And we're totally safe and secure as we float in the sky with the sun and the other clouds and the birds and maybe the bees, whatever happens to be around. And we're just floating along, feeling peaceful and relaxed. Just notice how it gets easier and easier to breathe. How you feel light, how you feel warm from the sun. Feel that energy from the sun filling you when you breathe in, like a balloon filling up with sunlight. And when you breathe out, let that sunlight go to every part of your body, all the way to the top of your head, all the way to the tips of your toes. Breathe into your belly and feel that sun shining all the way into your arms and your hands and your fingers. And pretty soon your entire body feels totally filled with sunshine, totally relaxed, and totally peaceful. And I'm going to count from 10 all the way down to 1. And if you've been moving, because I know sometimes it's hard to be still, if you've been moving, this is your chance to be perfectly still and float on your cloud. And counting is a great way to focus your breath and focus yourself on being still. So let's breathe in. And you can count with me if you'd like. 10. Breathe out. And breathing in. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Now staying nice and relaxed, you can go ahead and begin to move your fingers and your toes. You can circle your ankles and your wrists. If you're on your back or on your side, just resting there for a moment or two. If you're on your back, you can roll to your side. If your legs are up the wall, you can hug them in and roll to your side, whatever feels good to you. And we'll gently, using your hands to help you up, sit up. If you're already seated, that's fine too. We're gonna come into a seated position, and we're gonna end today's practice with our Sat Nam meditation, and it's a little bit of a chant, kind of a song, and those of you who come to my class have done this one before. So we're going to use all of our fingers to do this as best as we can, and even if you have difficulty doing that, keep practicing. It will get easier, or have somebody help you. And even if you're not able to do it, just saying the words and thinking about bringing your fingers together will really help your brain to make that connection. So we're going to start with the first sound. Sa is your thumb and your first finger. Ta is your thumb and second finger. Na is thumb and ring finger or third finger. Ma is thumb and pinky finger. So we're going to do those all together. We'll start out with a normal voice, then we'll do it a little louder, then we'll do it in a whisper, and then we'll do it silently to ourselves. And I'll just maybe be moving my lips in case you forget the words, but I know you guys will get it. So let's go ahead. Take a nice breath in. Sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. We'll do it a little louder this time. Sa ta na ma. Now in a whisper. Sa ta na ma. And now silently to yourself. And then we'll join our hands together at our heart. And we started the class with Namaste. We will end the class with Namaste. And we'll bow our hearts and think of at least one thing that you're grateful for, that you're thankful for. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this helped you feel strong and relaxed, peaceful and happy. Namaste.